who I think has value in a trade, and you can go get the 20th pick to go get a player that, hey, maybe fits a little bit better with what you're doing, I think that's something you have to do. So the player that I've identified today as our draft prospect of the day, here on the Insider, sponsored by Jiffy Lube. He's James Ham. I'm Kyle Madsen. Joe Brazil's with us. This is not, I'm not starting with players in the 20s. We'll get to that for sure.
Okay.
Players that the Kings might identify. And I think we're going to pretty much stick with 20. But I think once you get down into the early 20s, so to me, that's 20 to 24. You get down into the early 20s.
Not your mid 20s.
No, not your mid 20s. That's 25 to 27.
You're still in your early 30s, right?
No. Okay. So the way I do that is 30, 31, 32, 33 are early 30s. 34, 35, 36, mid 30s. You hit 37, you're in your late 30s. I'm really sorry.
Okay.
I got a few years to get there, but currently I'm early in my mid 30s. I'm in my early to mid 30s. But when you get down to that point of the draft, whether it's 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, like the players available, it's not as rock solid as maybe 1 through 8 or 1 through 9 or whatever.
Well, yeah, even in this year's draft, we're hearing now Mark Stein and Jake Fisher this morning reporting that they believe that there are 8 players that are going 1 through 8. They don't know what order after the top 2.
Yeah.
But 3 through 8, there is a selected group of players. And this is where you ask, like, I always ask Sam Bassini, like, hey, how many player draft is this? Is this an 8-man draft? Is it a 5-man draft? Is it a 3-man draft? Is it a 12-man draft? Because there are, there are drafts that have been that good. And it looks like this is developing into an 8-man draft where the top 8 are kind of solidified. And that can change a little bit on draft night, but someone's not going to fall to like 22 from the top 8.
Yeah, for sure. So I'm sticking with the second round. The Kings currently hold the 42nd pick in the second round, or I guess that's the 12th pick in the second round. 42 overall. And the player that has been tied to them a lot, who I think makes a lot of sense for them, is Duke guard Tyrese Proctor. Tyrese Proctor, 6'5", 6'4" and a quarter barefoot, 6'7" plus on his wingspan. He shot 40.5% from 3 last year. That was an improvement as a freshman. He played 3 years at Duke, 32% in year 1, 35.2% in year 2, 40.5% from 3 last year as a true like 3-and-D wing, a role player on a team with Con Knippel and Cooper Flagg, both projected early lottery picks.
And what's his name? Malik? Yeah.
Yeah, the
center. Yep.
Yeah. So 3 guys who may go in the top 10.
3 guys that are right now projected to go in the top 8.
Top 8. 8-player draft. And they are among the 8.
Yes.
So he's comfortable playing a role where he is a 3-and-D player. I think he is with his size, I think he's like a switchable 1 through 3 type of defender who can reliably knock down a 3. Again, we're talking second round picker. I don't think he's going to be inserted into the starting lineup. I don't think he's going to be a starting point guard. He's not a point guard, actually. He can handle the ball a little bit.
Yep.
And make good decisions, but you're not drafting Tyrese Proctor to be your point guard of the future. But he's like capable with the ball in his hands if it gets to him with 8 seconds on the shot clock. So I love this idea as a potential rotational piece. He seems like the kind of player who goes to Oklahoma City and is playing 14 minutes in a finals game.
Yeah.
And you're going, how do they do this? How do they get this guy? So in my brain, just go get him. Go get that guy. And again, I don't know that he'll ever be a starter in the NBA, but he profiles to me as a really, really good rotational player, a switchable defender who can knock down a 3, the type of player the Kings need. And I think if you can find that player in the second round, I think it's a pretty big win.
Yeah. So a couple of things. Number one, the Kings did have him in for a pre-draft workout on June 9th. So he has been through Sacramento. He's one of, I think we're at 7 groups of 6, so 42 players, give or take a few, right? The other thing I would point out is his 3-point percentage jumped in this last season, right? What was the jump? Do you have that in front of you?
The 3-point percentage?
Yeah.
35.2 to 40.5.
Okay. So I'm going to bring up something like pretty obvious, but the talent around him increased this year so much that it was crazy. And that's why you're seeing this jump. I think naturally he's getting bigger, he's getting stronger as a player, and he's developing. But the reason why you're probably seeing this jump in his productivity is because he's playing with Malik, he's playing with Cooper Flag, he's playing with frontline NBA talent that are all going to go in the top 8. So that makes his life a lot easier, and it gives you a better idea what he might look like on an NBA roster.
Sure.
So it's one of those guys that kind of stands out as someone who can do a lot of things, but he might be better, especially early in his career, doing limited things,
right?
But doing those things well.
And the spin-off of that point that you're making for me, and one of the reasons that I like him so much for the Kings, is he played with all that NBA talent and found a role and had success in that role. This is not a player who thinks he's Michael Jordan.
Yeah, who comes into his freshman year thinking, "Oh, I'm going to be the next, Grant Hill,"
right?
And then next thing you know, at Duke, he's realistically, I don't know, not even Trajan Langdon. He's
Kyle Singler.
Yeah. Okay,
good player.
Like maybe.
Yeah, a lot of good players out of Duke. But yeah, no, that's why you look at him and you go, man, he would fit on this roster from a just basketball standpoint. And you're not going to have to do that. Hey, okay, you're trying to do too much. Hey, this guy thinks he's an all NBA guy, and we really just need him to be a 15 minutes a night hustle 3-and-D type of player. I think that's exactly what you're going to get from him on day one. And I think that matters so much. I think playing at Duke for 3 years, I think if you're trying to establish a culture of do the right things, make winning plays, do what it takes to fit your role, help the team, I think that Tyrese Proctor has all of that. And I think that's super vital at this stage of the Scott Perry, Doug Christie era.
Yeah. And look, he started 97 out of 106 games during his career at Duke.
Yeah.
This is a guy who played 30 minutes a night in 3 years at Duke. It's a high level basketball, institution. The player, I watched videos of him this morning. The player he instantly player comp that stands out to me is Landry Shamet. That's what I saw. Right away, I'm like, okay, body motion, the way he's moving on the court, his ability to create for himself in a sneaky way. I also think that there's potential for him to be better than what you think. I think there's potential. Yeah, because I think when you're playing your first 2 years and you're kind of out there, you've got to be a major player as a freshman, as a sophomore. If you're a 5-star top tier, and I think he's probably a 5-star recruit. But if you're one of those crazy, over the top, top 3 or top 4 recruits, then you expect him to step in and automatically be great. But when you're a guy who comes in and then all of a sudden in year 3 gets to play with all of this talent, that changes the dynamic greatly. So, yeah, I like him. And look, what the Kings need to do, you may or may not have Keon Ellis long term. This may be the last year of Keon Ellis, because if the Kings pick up his deal, you're going to walk into next offseason and he's going to be unrestricted, and you got to decide if you can afford him. You got to give him a contract offer and hope that he says yes.
I have a question on that.
Yeah,
there's no deadline for that, right?
For what? For them to pick up the option? Yes, before July 1st. Yeah,
I'm sorry, not pick up the option, not pick up the option. So July 1 we'll know. But let's say they don't.
Yeah.
They can theoretically hammer out a deal in November.
Of course. Yeah, they have the entire season to extend him.
Okay.
And they aren't really all that limited in what they can extend him.
Right.
The dollar amount changes. But the fact is, the Kings need to create a pipeline where they're mass producing Keon Ellis's.
I agree.
And it's not easy, but again, I think they might already have another version of that in why am I drawing Isaiah Crawford? Yeah, Isaiah Crawford. I really do believe that they might have another version of him.
The Colby Jones fan club has scratched out our Colby Jones on our t-shirts, on our members only jackets, and written in Isaiah Crawford.
Yeah, I mean, look, Isaiah Crawford's built like Lou Dort.
He's a tank.
He is. He's a tank. And
sorry, go ahead.
And then
Lou Dort is built a little diff.
Oh yeah. I mean, Isaiah Crawford is a big dude. Unit. Yeah. So, and not only that, but his 3-point percentage at the G League level was spectacular. He did a really, really good job. He is exciting. He's a great young defensive player, and you're just wondering if it translates fully to the NBA level without him fouling all the time.
Sure.
So I'm already looking at that as like a pipeline as a 2-3 and a guy who might even be able to play up because of just his strength. But adding more shooting, adding more players with versatility of positions, like Proctor makes a lot of sense. Now, I would love it if he was 6'7", 6'8".
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, and that's where, I think we're going to keep coming back to. If you're drafting at 42 or at 20, you better start looking at some 6'7", 6'8", 6'9" dudes.
I can tell you this: I don't know what our whole list of Kings draft prospects of the day is going to be. We have a couple of names jotted down here, but I'm going to tell you none of them are going to be shorter than 6'4".
Okay,
maybe 6'5".
They have brought in a lot of sub 6-footers for pre-draft workouts.
Sub 6-footers?
Yeah, quite a few like 5'10" point guards, 5'11", 5'9". Yeah. There's been a lot of, but that's because you're trying to run like simulations.
Yeah,
and that makes sense.
I guess. Tyrese Proctor.
Yep.
Put him on the list. Our number one Kings draft prospect of the day. Our first, not necessarily number one, but our first Kings draft prospect of the day, Tyrese Proctor. We'll get to our insider's trade idea of the day. We'll also, John Lynch, the 49ers GM, spoke with Matt Mayoko on the 49ers Talk podcast.